Alrighty, guys, today is the last day of 2019, December 31st. Man, time flies. Thinking back, I've done not many things this year. So last day of the year, anyways, I decided to do something worth my time doing. That is reviewing all the chemistry stuff from year 11. And one thing I thought of doing is memorizing the first 20 elements on the periodic table. I once thought of, remember the whole thing, but that was a bit pointless because you're not going to use the entire periodic table in your tests, in your assignments, in doing any questions. You're not gonna come up. You're not gonna encounter a question that says, "Hey, name the hundred and fifth element on the periodic table." You're not gonna see that, and usually, questions work with really simple, really fundamental elements, like, the first 20 elements. Anyway, that's what my chemistry teacher told me. So I didn't decide this myself, but I think it's a smart move to do. If my chemistry teacher remembers the first 20, then I guess I'll be good remembering the first 20. Anyway, this is harder than I thought because, you know, you don't know what each of the element does. So these names don't mean much to you, and they don't mean much to me too. Anyway, I'm going to get rid of this and start from the first one. Anyway, why don't we go over this first? Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon, potassium, calcium. And let's get rid of all this and retype them. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, because 4 and 5, boron, and after boron, gonna have carbon and nitrogen. Nitrogen and oxygen, and what's the next one? Oh yeah, the toxic one, fluorine, neon, and sodium, and magnesium, and after that is aluminium because they kind of rhyme, and after silicon because Silicon Valley, and I spelled silicon wrong again. And after this is phosphorus and sulfur, and I spelled something wrong. I think that's meant to be a U. Nope. Phosphor. Oh, nope. Phosphor. No, I'm gonna give up. Phosphorus. 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 Yeah, I messed up big time. Anyway, 17. Wait, what? Yeah, that's right. 17. Chlorine, argon, potassium, and calcium. Anyway, after rushing through the first 20 elements because I'm afraid I might forget them anytime soon, I'm going to explain what each of them means to me. Some of them, um, I don't even know what they do, so I'm gonna skip some of them. But some of them, I know them very well. Like the first one, hydrogen. Hydrogen is the largest element in the universe because it has one proton and that's it. It's pretty good on its own and it can exist like that for a long time. Anyway, we have a lot of hydrogen in our universe and it's pretty light. And our sun has a lot of hydrogen. And our sun also has a lot of helium. Hydrogen makes up about 75% of our sun, and helium makes up about 25% of the sun. And the rest are just, random elements that exist for some reason. Anyway, if you know how the sun works, by that I mean how it radiates heat and energy and light. Well, the sun works by the word fusion, the process. Fusion, that is. Fusion is the fusing together of two atoms. Well, in our sun, the hydrogen atom and another hydrogen atom, they are fusing together into one helium. And because the sun has so much hydrogen and so much helium, um, it's big, it's heavy. But when we go down to calculating its density, we'll find out something interesting, that the sun's density is actually lighter than the Earth's density. So, to put this into perspective, if our Earth was as big as the sun, it's going to be a lot heavier than our sun. But because our Earth is so small, so much smaller than the sun, you know, the weight is kind of incomparable. Anyway, let's move on to the third element, lithium. Lithium is used in batteries, and I think it looks like some just gray matter, like a powdery metal. And I think they mine 75% of the world's lithium in South America, in Chile and another country. Anyway, beryllium. I don't know what that does. Boron, neither. Carbon. Well, carbon exists in everything. Well, by that I mean every living creature on the earth. So carbon exists in all life forms on the earth. Everything you see around you, the dog, the cat, the people, humans, babies, um, they all have carbon in them. Well, this is because carbon, it is a stable element first, and it can, have a lot of things attached to it. By that I mean it can have long and complicated compounds that come together and eventually make up to some basic life form. Anyway, that's how evolution is meant to work. Just something attaching themselves together, I guess. Anyway, I don't know much on this topic, so I'm not going to say too much. Anyway, nitrogen. I guess that's what nitro comes from, what makes cars go faster. Oxygen, what we breathe in. And fluorine. Fluorine is toxic, and I think it was used in chemical warfare. Neon. Well, neon is something we're familiar with, neon lights. Neon lights are basically fancy lights that we don't see a lot very much right now because, it's the 21st century and no one uses neon lights anymore. Anyway, the existence of neon in the neon lights is what makes the lights so fancy. Sodium. Sodium. I should know a lot more about sodium you know, than my current understanding, because my current understanding of sodium is nothing. Anyway, let's skip sodium and also skip magnesium and go down to aluminium. I think that's what they put over metals to keep them from rusting. And 14 is silicon. Silicon is something weird. I don't know what it is, but I've heard the phrase Silicon Valley, and that phrase just stuck in my mind forever. And now I can't think of the word silicon without also thinking about Silicon Valley. So every time I go over the periodic table, I'd be like, the 14th element. Ah, Silicon Valley. Nope, not Silicon Valley, just silicon. Anyway, that's a fun fact of how I remember things. Number 15, phosphorus. I don't know what that is. 16, sulfur. Sulfur is going to rain from heaven. Um, I think that was a description of the Armageddon in the Bible. Anyway, God can make sulfur rain from heaven, I guess. And 17 is chlorine. Well, chlorine is again a toxic gas that you should not breathe in. The Germans used this toxic gas in World War II against the French army, and initially the Germans didn't think this gas was gonna perform too good, but it turned out that this gas, was an actual killer. So after all the French soldiers had drowned in their own body fluid, because that's what chlorine does to people. It drowns you in your own fluid. Not fun. So after all the French soldiers died, the Germans didn't have any backup army to penetrate their like defense line. So that battle didn't turn out too effective. But anyway, chlorine was effective at killing people. And argon, no idea what it is. Potassium is what banana contains. So I think it's good for you. Having some is good for you. Having too much is not good for you. Anyway, the last one, the 20th. Last one on the list, calcium. Intaking a lot of calcium is good for your bones. It makes your bones stronger, denser, I guess. Anyway, um, calcium. You can find a lot of calcium in milk, and I think pure calcium also burns very bright when you light it on fire. So that's a fun fact about calcium. Burns very bright when you light it on fire. Haha. Okay. Again, that's the first 20 elements that we're going to see in high school. And for me, I'm saying goodbye to these babies because I'm not taking a chemistry in year 12. So I remember them in groups of 4 and 5 groups in total, up to 20. Again, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon, potassium, and calcium. Whew, right. That's my, last video of 2019. Maybe I'll make more today. Who knows? Anyways, if you're watching this video in 2019, which is very unlikely, Happy New Year. If you're watching this in 2020, Happy New Year. If you're watching this in, after 2020, well, happy whatever year is coming up. So, goodbye. Have a good time. Have fun learning about chemistry, and see ya.